In this video, I will share with you how to perform a generative engine optimization audit. You will learn how to audit your position on ChatGPT, Gemini, eventually AI Overview, or even Sonar and Perplexity. At the end of the video, you will know how to audit the position of a website, of a brand in LLMs, in ChatGPT or whatever, how to identify the queries your users are typing on ChatGPT, how to improve your website position on LLMs. Hello, I'm Luca, the founder of Qwairy. We are a generative engine optimization tool. Basically, the role of Qwairy is that you just add your website and you can audit directly your position on ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, whatever other LLM you want to know your position on. Let's start the video, and here's how to run a geo audit and understand your position. I show you that, I share my screen, let's go. I'll give you 3 possibilities to find the queries that people type on ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever. I will just say LLM, it will be easier for the next step. So the first thing that you have to understand is that people are behaving differently with an LLM when you compare to a traditional search engine. You know, in a search engine like Google, we would just be very lazy and type like best bike for beginners or whatever. Whereas with LLM, it's different because we have a conversation. So the first step we need to do is to understand what are the conversational queries that the client is typing. And I will share with you 3 different hacks that are very useful to find queries or queries that your user might be typing on LLM on ChatGPT. So the first thing is to use the Google Search Console. Google Search Console is really a gold mine to find conversational queries. What we will do is that we will add a filter, like I show you, like I'm just sharing my screen, and you go to Query, you select Regex, and you add the regular expression that is this. So basically, we are just saying to Google Search Console that we want all the keywords that contain who, what, where, or how, all the questions basically. We apply, and here are all the questions that we get. So this is a blog about craft beer. So we get questions like, what is the local beer in Portugal? What beer do they drink in Portugal? What is an English ale? This kind of question. What are alcohol-free beers, for example? And these are traditional questions people will use on search generative engine. So this is a first option that you might use. So here it is, you can just use, like you can download for free in the description this template. I'll show you how to automate that with our tool Qwairy. Obviously, it gets a bit faster, but if you don't want to use our tool, it's totally okay. And you can like just use here, the query identification. So basically what I would do here is just like finding on Google Search Console the different queries that I showed you before, like here, and I would just add them, like what is the local beer in Portugal? This is a top funnel query. I could add it here. And for example, another query would be where to buy Portuguese beer, and that's like a bottom funnel queries. That's basically what I would do. You can just use that and we will continue. Second technique that you can use is use Perplexity. So Perplexity is a generative engine. Basically what they do is just being a search engine, but a bit more evolved with more information. And I typed on Perplexity, what are the best bicycle for beginners? And basically here you have suggested questions, So I get, for example, what are the top beginner-friendly bikes for road riding in India? So these are examples of what people might type in search engine. So you see here, it's very different than what people type on a traditional search engine. So a traditional search engine, we would just search top beginner-friendly bike, and here we are like having a conversation with this LLM. I also like this question, what should I consider when choosing my first bike based on riding comfort? So this, you can basically add it here. For me, it's a middle funnel queries. You can use that and just complete that. I wanted to show you that you can do that automatically with Qwairy. So for example, here I add Tesla. I would go for, I guess it's tesla.com. Here you can choose the language. So I'll choose English in this case. And here, let's start with the United States. So here, basically, we get question like, are there any government incentive for those looking to buy an electric car? We can also have some bottom funnel question. What is the process to buy an electric car? How do electric vehicle compare? What are the best electric vehicles for families currently in the market? So I can basically generate all these questions and find the answer. This is second step I will show you now at the moment. So the second step now is really identifying what is your position as a brand or as a company in general in generative engine. So you have your questions here. For example, you prepared the top queries, and now it's time to see your position. So here in the example, I wrote what is the best drill, but I will change. I will add what is the best electric car. Electric car, we said, for families. Just if you want to do it manually, you can just type that in ChatGPT. The ideal thing is to use ephemer, it's just like a private navigation, and we will see who is quoting. So top electric cars for family. The first one quoted is Kia, second one is Tesla. Not surprised by this, Ford and Hyundai, Chevrolet, Volkswagen, and this different type. Here, for example, if I was Peugeot is a French brand of car, it would be a problem for me because my brand is not quoted by ChatGPT. Tesla is quoted, so at the moment we are analyzing correct Tesla, so we can be a bit happy about this, but there you go. So basically, I could just add here the answer, I copy paste and I can add it here, and then you can just add the number of questions you want. You can use it, and this you can use it to audit any website and just give it to your clients or whatever. Interesting thing also, in here you see I searched on ChatGPT 4.0. I might want to search on the web, and I'll put the same question. What is the best electric car for family? Because ChatGPT will search online for this answer. So let's see what he finds online. ChatGPT in general is searching on Bing. And here again, the answer is more or less the same: Kia, Tesla, Volkswagen, Hyundai, but he will give also honorable mention. And the good thing with that is that we get the source. So we see, for example, that one of the sources that was used by ChatGPT is this Wikipedia page about the Kia EV9. And this is something very important. I will talk about it in the rest of the video. Then obviously when you do the audit, the best thing is to do some monitoring. Like this week, Kia maybe is mentioned. Let's see if next week it is mentioned again. And for example, same thing, you can see that in this case, all the model, they have a Wikipedia page. There's a Zoe Wikipedia. Let's see, they have a Wikipedia page too. That's a competitor, but do they have the page in English? Yeah, they should. That's a good thing for them. So you see here, we can already see something and we can add it here in the sources. It's that apparently it's quite important to be mentioned in Wikipedia. We will double check and we will continue that, but this comes in the next step. The next step of an LLM audit is basically to understand the sources of an LLM. What are the websites that an LLM is using? What are the websites that an LLM are quoting? There are two things why it's important. The first thing is that you might get some traffic from here. You can see it like I'm sharing the screen. It's still the same question. What are the best families electric car? And you see here, you might get some link. And actually we see that Kia is the first one that is quoted, and ChatGPT just used this one, Kia, again. Let's see this article and see which one is coming up if it loads. But basically identifying the sources is very important, because after that, Kia is again quoted. Because after that, what you can do with these sources is contact all these people, contact all these bloggers, contact all this press, do some press relationship and get mentioned in there. And if you are mentioned, if you are mastering the sources that an LLM is using, then you will be more present in this LLM. And this is very important for the future. It's like backlinks, that we used to do in the past. There's a new paradigm of backlink. Now it's just not about having a link. It's more about being quoted in general. And that's why it's very important. By the way, if you want to understand all the sources, you can use Qwairy. Basically what we do is that you can see all the sources here that are quoted. You can see that Wikipedia is over present. NanPower, for example, is another website in this Tesla analysis. And you can also group them by keyword that you add at the beginning. So here you can see Wikipedia is very present. So basically, if you want to rank on electric car on LLM, you better have a Wikipedia page. All these sources, you could also get them from here. And basically what you do after that, it's a bit the same like before. you can just add all the sources in here, or you can use Qwairy if you want to save some time. Finally, the last step of an LLM audit is auditing the website traffic that is coming from LLM. And for that, I'll share a Looker Studio dashboard with you. So this is an example of a Looker Studio dashboard. Basically what you have here is just the data and the traffic coming from LLM. This is very little website, and that's why we don't get so much traffic. But we can see, for example, that ChatGPT has brought 12 users. You can just replicate. I'll share it with you. It will be in the description. And if it's not the right account, and then you can just here and make a copy, and you put your own data in there, and you can see the traffic that's coming from ChatGPT. You can see different things in there. First, you can see the traffic depending on the source. So you have ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, and I added Claude too. And here you can see the landing page that people coming from this website. So you see, for example, here, the page that is the most visited, put some zoom in there. It's a statistic about beer. So this is a page that ChatGPT used a lot. And that's interesting because you can see in which landing page people landed after coming from ChatGPT. You can just replicate that, and that's it for the audit. There are many other things that you can do. We will share them in other video. For that, you can subscribe, hit the subscribe button. Test Qwairy if you want. You have some free credit. You have 100 free credits, so you can just test it. And there are many other things that you can do for an audit. You can audit the logs, for example, but here we wanted to have like a broad overview so that if you have a client that asks you, if you have your manager that asks you, how are we positioning on ChatGPT? You can do it with this audit. Talk soon. We'll come back next week with a new video. Bye-bye.